Hi, this is Clancy from VBAcourses.com. In this video, we're going to learn how to use VBA's watches and related debugging features to see what your variables contain. This is a key debugging strategy to help you fix problems with your VBA programs. I'm going to be using the code from Lesson 8. If you haven't completed Lesson 8 already, join the free course at VBAcourses.com. Open up the file now, enable the macros, and you can see here I've got the buttons set up to run the various example codes from Lesson 8. Let's look at the code behind the number guessing game. It's the more complex of the examples. One easy way to get into that, if I just right click on the button there, assign macro. It's already assigned to the loop until cancelled macro. I can click the edit button there. Okay, you can see there's two variables that get used in this loop. One's called the number, which holds the random number that the computer generates, and one is called guess, which holds the guess that the user enters. If we start to run this program, I'll hit F8 to step through it. And you can see here that we've assigned a value to the number. I can hold the mouse over it there and we can see inside the number is the number 14. So that's one way to look at what's in that variable contains. Another way is through the locals window. You can see the locals window down here, and we can see the number contains 14. There's also a third way, and that's using watches. One way to add a watch, if I put the cursor and select the number, and press Shift F9, we see here it brings up 14, and we can click the Add button, and we've now got the number appearing in the watches window over here. And again, seeing that its value is 14. To make sure you've got the locals and watches windows showing, they're both available from the view menu over here. You can see we've got locals window and watches window there, so we can use those menu items. And also, if you don't remember the Shift F9 shortcut for adding the watch, it will do the similar thing here except for using guess. And we can just use debug, add watch or quick watch. If we select add watch, so I'll add the watch for guess. We can close I'll close the locals window because we've got both those variables set up in the watches window now, and close the immediate window as well. And now you can see here the full information about those two variables that we've set up the watches for. I'll push F8 again, and here we get asked to enter the guess. So I'm going to guess number 10. And you can see here that my guess is a variant or string variable that contains the value 10 in quotes because it's a string at the moment. I'll push F8 a few more times, and we can see the parts of the program that get executed using the stepping function that we described in the earlier lesson. So we're now told that the number is higher than 10. It checks here if the guess is equal to an empty string, which is what happens when the user presses cancel. It's not, and so we go back up and go through the loop again. It's going to ask us for another guess. And this time I'll enter 15 as my guess. Checks if the user pushed the cancel button. They haven't. Checks if it's a number, which it is. Checks if it equals the randomly generated number, which it doesn't. If it's less than a number, it doesn't match that either. And so we're down here, and it gives us a message that it's lower than 15. So I'll click OK. I'll go through that process one more time, just quickly. Entering in 14, which is the correct number. And you can see now that we're going to get the message that we've got it right. And we're going to assign a new random number to the number. So down here now we'll see that the number will change. So it's now 11. So that watch allows us to look in and see what's happening. You can also add watches for more complex expressions. So the locals window is good for showing you the content of just variables. But if you want to see something a bit more complex, like this random number generator, if we wanted to watch all of that and see what this evaluates to, I'll push Shift F9 for the quick watch. Click Add. And you can see that it actually evaluates to a decimal number. In this case, it's a single number, which is a type of decimal number. But because we declared the number as an integer up here, we make sure that the number is always just a whole number. As we step through now, you can see that every time we step, because it includes the random expression, this random value is changing all the time. I'm going to enter my guess of 10 here, because that's where we're up to. Some of the more complex, or more useful, expressions that might be helpful to watch. We might be trying to see if this part here is going to be true or false. So I can select that part of the if statement there, if guess equals the number, and I can add a watch for that. We could also add a watch for something a bit more complicated if we wanted to, such as the active sheet. So if we add a watch and say active sheet, click OK, you can see that active sheet is an object. It doesn't have any value by itself, but we've got this plus sign over here, and we can expand that and see properties within it, such as, if we scroll down a bit, we'll see the name property. So that's it there. The name of that first sheet is sheet 1. And you can see there's a whole lot of other properties inside there and other objects which we can expand further so that we can see what's inside those objects within. So you could keep expanding those to look further into those watches as well. I'll show you two more debugging features now that are also useful quickly. The first is being able to change which line is going to be executed next. So sometimes you just want to be able to skip straight to a particular line of the program without running all the lines that lead up to that program. You can see I've got this yellow arrow over here. I can drag that yellow arrow down to, say, there, and it's going to behave now as if we've guessed the right number. So if I hit F8, we get the "that's right" message, and we'll get a new random number being generated for the number. So the number is now 9. The other feature which I'll show you quickly is the immediate window. The best way to get into that is the keyboard shortcut Control-G. You can also see it here from View Immediate Window. And in here we can enter commands that get run straight away. So I can say message box hello from immediate window, hit enter, and that gets ran straight away. I can also use variables and the like from the currently running context. So I can say the number is, and the number, and I get the number is 9 as a message coming up. So those things are useful as a couple of things, just if you need to do something in the middle of running your program or change where your program's running. So the watches were able to show us what the variables contained. We also had a quick look at setting the next statement and the immediate window. Watches in particular are extremely helpful when you're finding problems in complex VBA programs, and they can also help you understand examples as you learn VBA programming. Thanks for watching the video. Please check our website www.vbacourses.com for more information.